Welcome, everyone, to today's story, an intense tale of betrayal, revenge, and closure. In this video, we'll dive deep into the mind of Mark, a man whose world was turned upside down by his wife's deceit. But instead of giving into anger, he crafted a plan that would give him control over a situation that had once made him feel powerless. What would you do if faced with such a revelation? Stick with me as we unravel this gripping story, and together, explore the choices Mark made and the consequences that followed. I've been married to Emily for 6 years, and for most of that time, I believed we had a solid marriage. We weren't perfect, but who is? We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I thought we were building something that could last. But when things started feeling different a few months ago, I couldn't shake the sense that something was wrong. Emily had been acting distant, spending more time at work, taking more trips, and always with the same excuse: business. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But a gut feeling kept gnawing at me, telling me there was more going on. I knew I couldn't confront her without proof. I couldn't just accuse her of something without knowing the truth. So I did what I thought I had to do. I started paying attention, watching her more closely. It didn't take long to figure out who Kyle was. He was a contractor who'd been doing some renovation work for a couple down the street. I'd seen him a few times, never thought much of it, until I noticed Emily becoming more interested in him than she should be. A few subtle glances here, an extra bit of attention there. It all added up. That's when I knew something was going on between them. One evening, she mentioned she'd be heading out of town for work. It was a business trip, she claimed, something about closing a deal. But I knew exactly where she was going. Not out of town, but to Kyle's house. My mind raced, but strangely, I wasn't angry. Instead, I felt calm, an eerie kind of calm, like I'd been preparing for this moment without even realizing it. I had a plan. The day after Emily made her announcement, I went to the house where Kyle was working, pretending to be a concerned neighbor. I spun a story about how the renovation noise had been disruptive and suggested it might be better for the homeowners to delay it by a few days. With just enough charm and concern, they agreed. That meant Kyle would be home for the weekend, the perfect opportunity for Emily to visit him. Everything was falling into place. When Emily left for her business trip that weekend, I wasted no time. I grabbed a few tools I had prepared and headed straight to Kyle's house. Under the guise of a utility worker, I managed to gain access to his basement. I wasn't planning anything violent. I'm not that kind of person. But I wanted both Kyle and Emily to understand the pain they'd put me through, to feel the helplessness and betrayal I'd been living with for months. It didn't take long to set up what I needed. I rigged the basement door with a special lock that could only be opened from the outside. I also installed a few hidden cameras, ensuring that every moment of their secret affair would be captured on video. It was more about making a statement than anything else, about taking back control of a situation that had spiraled beyond me. Later that night, I watched from my laptop as Emily arrived at Kyle's house. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, not from heartbreak, but from something darker, a sense of anticipation. I watched as she greeted him, the way they kissed, completely unaware that they were being watched. It was a strange feeling, seeing everything unfold right before my eyes. They made their way down to the basement where their evening of betrayal was about to begin. That's when I made my move. With a few clicks on my laptop, I activated the lock, sealing the basement door shut. At first, they didn't notice. They were too caught up in each other to realize anything was wrong. But as time passed and they tried to leave, the panic began to set in. I could hear them pounding on the door, shouting for help, but no one could hear them. I had chosen this moment carefully. Kyle's neighbors were out of town, and the house was in a quiet area. They were completely isolated. I watched as fear and confusion washed over them. They were trapped, just like I had felt trapped in my own marriage for months. It was a strange kind of satisfaction, seeing them experience the same emotional torment that had plagued me. Emily tried calling me, but I let the phone ring. When she sent desperate text messages, I ignored them. I wasn't ready to talk yet. The next morning, after letting them stew in their misery overnight, I decided it was time to confront her. When her phone rang again, I answered. "Having fun?" I asked, my voice calm and cold. There was silence on the other end. I could hear her breathing, and I knew she had realized the truth, that I knew everything. Her affair, her lies, it had all come crashing down. "Mark, please let me explain," she stammered, but I wasn't interested in hearing her excuses. "Explain what?" I said. "That you've been sneaking around behind my back for months? That you thought you could keep lying to me and I wouldn't find out?" She was quiet. I could hear her struggling to find the right words, but it didn't matter anymore. "There's nothing left to explain, Emily." Her voice trembled. "What are you going to do?" I paused, letting the weight of the moment sink in before replying. "I'm not going to ruin your life, Emily. I could send this video to everyone we know, your friends, your family, your coworkers, but I won't. I'm better than that." She started pleading with me, but I had already made up my mind. This wasn't about revenge in the way people might think. I wasn't interested in ruining her life. I just wanted her to know that I could have if I wanted to, that I had the power, but chose not to use it. I left them locked in that basement for a few more hours before finally unlocking the door remotely. When they emerged, they were shaken, humiliated. Kyle, unable to deal with the shame, cut all ties with Emily right then and there. He disappeared from her life just as quickly as he had entered it. As for me, I filed for divorce. I didn't spread the footage or expose the affair to anyone. I didn't need to. The knowledge that I could have was enough for me. I had taken control of a situation that had once left me feeling powerless, and that was all the closure I needed. Emily was left to live with the guilt and regret of her actions. She had thrown away a life we'd built together, and she knew it. But that wasn't my problem anymore. I walked away from it all with my dignity intact, ready to rebuild my life free from the lies and betrayal that had once consumed me. In the end, it wasn't revenge that I achieved. It was peace. And sometimes, that's the best outcome you can hope for. And there you have it. A story of betrayal turned into a search for closure. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Mark's actions were justified? Could he have handled the situation differently? Or did he find the perfect balance between revenge and restraint? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.